All right, so we are live. Welcome, everyone. You can attend live, of course, or you can watch the replay. And I always recommend like hashtag replay on the bottom. Let us know. Uh, we would love to hear why you're attending and maybe what industry you're in. Feel free to promote yourself underneath. We are talking about supply chain and logistics, but particularly we're talking about a hot topic today, which is near and dear to both of our hearts, and it's the baby formula shortage. I definitely know that I had a panic moment last week. I've got a 3 month old. Alex, yours is 7 months now.
Yeah.
7 months. And I had a complete panic moment. I was completely unaware, caught me totally blindsided. My mother in law is like messaging me saying, I can't find your all's formula anywhere. And I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah. How can you not find it?
And I'm like,
It's at
we're
the
just
store.
like, we just normally get it at Target. And
Yeah.
she's like, no, there's a shortage.
And so how about I didn't realize it was, I realized it was a shortage, but I kind of equated it to all the shortages throughout all products and industries. Uh,
Right.
so in preparation for this, I was like, okay, literally last night, I'm just looking. I was like, well, let me see, how deep the shortage is. So I found out numbers just pulled yesterday. So there was a 23% shortage in January. It was up to 30% shortage in April, and now it's up to a 43% shortage of baby formula nationwide
That's
as of
huge.
yesterday.
That's huge, especially if you live in a high traffic area or a larger city, which is in both of our cases.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right because the inventory is going to be less. But even if you take into consideration the rural areas, so the rural areas where you may have to travel 30 minutes to your closest Target, Walmart, just to get there, and there's no formula, can really be a big deal. It really be detrimental to the baby's health as well as your sanity.
yes, so we had this panic moment. No one was carrying the formula that she particularly drinks, and for those who are not parents, switching baby formulas up on a baby's stomach is not a good thing.
No.
It's not good for the parent, it's not good for the baby. It's fussiness, it can cause a lot of spit up, it can cause a lot of pain, gas, colic. Um, their stomachs are just too sensitive. So whatever they've gotten used to is what's great for them. And on a side note, like they may be a breastfed baby, but need a little bit extra because not all moms can keep up with that.
Mhm.
And then there's some parents that one that they can't make enough milk themselves, or they just didn't make the milk, or they don't want to.
Yeah.
And so
Or
there's
there's a
several cases.
There's a third, such as myself, a work from home dad, and I can't produce milk. So therefore, I need the formula to be on hand at, at,
Yes,
at the ready when she wakes up from naps.
for sure. And that's our case too. My husband primarily takes care of the baby and while I'm working.
Mhm.
And what are we supposed to do? Especially middle of the night, it's my turn to sleep and he needs milk.
Right.
So there's so many instances where baby formula is a necessity. And my first reaction was, oh my gosh, what about all the babies that aren't going to get enough milk?
Exactly.
Um, all the parents and babies that are going to have to change it up. We went to the store, we bought what was available, and we stuck it in the closet. And then, tip for any parents: call your pediatrician. They might have some on stock as well that they can
So
give you.
here's the supply chain version of what you just did. The panic shopping. So what ends up happening is once it hits the news that there is, and it's once it hits the news that there's a shortage, the shortage becomes exacerbated, I think is the word,
Yes, yes.
because everybody's running out to go buy more and more and more and more and more. So you're taking whatever small inventory that was available now is being removed because you have this panic situation of the national shortage. It's actual shortage, it's national shortage, but it makes it even more so. And I think that's why the numbers were growing in the way that they were. We're at in January, like I said, we were at a 23% baby formula shortage. And then as you continue to move on throughout the year, it just gets more and more of a shortage. And they're actually predicting it to go into, and I think it's going to go further, but it's actually predicted to go into August, the baby formula shortage.
And yes, because panic, especially for a parent, like we are going to stock up if there's the even slightest chance.
Well, as a
Um,
consumer, and as a consumer base, we're
as a
conditioned for
consumer
that.
too.
Yeah,
And I think this is even more. I'm gonna stock up than the toilet paper situation because
by far.
for some people we're just like it's toilet paper. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'll figure it out. Like go buy a bidet, whatever. But I did. But there's with the formula like this is babies. This is a whole nother
Oh yeah.
scenario. And so the breaking news yesterday and today is that the FDA is going to open up the plant and baby formula is going to start being made. However, we're at a shortage and we've got to make up, we've got to overcompensate for that.
Mhm.
Then there's the supply chain and logistics side of it. So people are thinking, oh, great, this is going to solve the problem. But we still have getting the plant up and going in 6 to 8 weeks to get it out to the stores.
And
And
keep
this is where we're talking about supply chain.
right, and keep in mind, the FDA and the plant there, the plant that we're referring to is Abbott Nutrition. Abbott Nutrition is one of, I think, one of the four. Excuse me, maybe one of the four. There's four large producers of baby formula in the United States, and Abbott Nutrition is one of those four. So when they had to close their plant, of course, that caused a whole bunch of problems. Again, that's the inventory, that's product loss. But the FDA and Abbott have agreed to reopen the plant, but there's no date given. So even though, yes, there may be an end in sight, there's no date given. And again, that's good news, but in the reality of having the product when you need it, there's that doesn't kind of move the needle as much as we would normally want it to move the needle. And some of the problems with that, the supply chain problems that come from that are just simply lack of capacity. So now you don't have the capacity built up for an emergency situation such as a plant closure, for example. And the plant closure, the reason it was such an immediate, because there were two infant deaths based off of, and I don't want to get too far into it. Anybody listening, you can kind of Google the story and find out more details about it. But it was a knee-jerk reaction. This just happened. We're closing it down. And once you close it down, that there wasn't the gradual slow of production. So therefore, there wasn't an accurate. Yeah, it's over. Close the doors, and it didn't give. And I'm gonna bring it back to a role in supply chain of inventory management and procurement and buyers for these larger corporations. It didn't give them time to diversify their vendors. So if you're getting, we'll say, a ton of like actual ton of baby formula shipped to your different distribution centers, and insert big company here, and then now you have a ton coming on Thursday, and the plant shuts down on Monday. Where do you find a vendor that's going to be able to provide you with enough baby formula in this case in order to meet the needs of the individuals or the customers base that you have? And not even so much customer base as individual customers, but the companies, the stores, the different retail outlets that need these things in order to put them on the shelves. So it and again, trying to make sure we equate it to the supply chain issues by having such an abrupt and my daughter is about to start crying. She just woke up. So but by having such an abrupt halt in production, it didn't give the individuals in these supply chain roles the proper lead time in order to make up for it. And this on top, the lack of production of Abbott closure, on top of the pandemic supply chains that we all know and love so much,
Yes.
Was a perfect storm for the situation that we find ourselves in now.
For sure, for sure. And so yeah, so there's this shortage. And we all know there's the pandemic that has led up to this. There's the instant, we're closing it down.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have this whole need of hiring more people and new people to come back in on
Right.
top of this. So not only are we reopening the plant, but we have to restaff it.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the great resignation happening as well.
Right. And you also have the great resignation, and another part of that is when the plant closes, people find other jobs. So not only do we have the resignation, we have, I don't know if there's a term for it, but just relocation as far as employment. So if I've been working at this plant for 15, 20 years, and unfortunately the plant closes, I have to go find another position.
Yeah, you're going to go find another position, and that doesn't mean that the employees that were working there are going to come back.
Right.
And we are already in the supply chain industry having a shortage of qualified employees to work in these plants because we've had, right, so many of these jobs have been shipped overseas, and we're trying to bring them back, and we're trying to make sure that these employees can be hired at an affordable rate for the business, but also to make sure that we're supporting the employees in a way that they're going to get what they need in a survivable, livable wage. And so the industry has been changing. We've talked about before, like drone technology is now coming in, automized vehicles are coming in. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So the drone technology, we found that overseas there's a lot of, overseas always has these innovative little gets and gadgets, those type of things, but they're using drone technology more and more to do inventory control, quality control, as well as safety, and safety monitoring. The ability to send a drone through a manufacturing plant, the ability to send a drone through the manufacturing plant, as opposed to having somebody on a ladder, on a scaffold, these other type of issues, takes away some of the liability. Also, like I said, safety, but also cuts down on payroll, because you can have an automated vehicle or a drone do the work of two or three able-bodied humans, we'll say, um, and that's going to save you money. What you're paying for at this point is the actual programming and actual monitoring of these vehicles, of these drones, as opposed to paying somebody to do that actual task. So now you need programmers. Now you need people that can maintenance on the drone, maintenance on the autonomous vehicles. That you need these other positions. So as manufacturing, supply chain evolves, you're going to constantly be adding different elements of technology to it. And these different elements of technology to it, it's similar to, at one point, computers were thought to, be a passing fad. And then now you can't do anything without a computer or a laptop, and your phone is in essence a mini computer. And you needed somebody to program these things. You needed somebody to build these things, and you needed somebody to operate these things. And that's where that's actually where the industry is shifting more to now, utilizing technology.
For sure. And that's one aspect of how do we get people to work with these, not only the people to maintain these and to program these, but how we're shifting to be able to work alongside with these within the warehouse. And I know that there's a lot of fear that comes up with
Absolutely.
AI, and this fear that it's going to steal our jobs within the warehouses. But really, it's there to make what we're doing more efficient, to make
Mhm.
what we're doing safer, rather than saying, hey, I'll pay you next to nothing to go climb up that ladder
Exactly.
and risk falling off. It's like, how can we reduce the risk by adding the technology in?
And that's the thing, and I'm going to touch on the fear part really quickly, as fear of losing jobs also comes back to just the fear of being comfortable in the position that you're at, and that's more so what it is. If the skills that are needed are the skills that are needed to operate and control these drones also combined with the skill set that you already have, you as in the sense of the person,
Yes.
also already coincides with the skills you already have, because you know the best route, for this drone to take throughout the respective manufacturing plant.
Mhm.
That's nothing that a drone. Now you do have AI, you have GPS mapping, that type of stuff, but not to get that far, in the weeds with it. But the knowledge base that you already have mixed with the technology only takes a small element of upskilling, and only takes a small element of being able to realize where you can incorporate the skills that you already have.
Yes. And so that leads to the next topic of within the industry of supply chain, what we're really needing is less entry level positions, and we're needing more people that are entering it as a career and entering it as management positions. Those are what are really needed within supply chain.
Yes, and that's where we put together our supply chain logistics. I must speak a little louder because this is live. In case anybody was wondering.
This is live. I'm just lucky my husband has mine outside right now, or I'd probably be in the same boat.
Oh yeah, no, it was. She was sleeping until she heard multiple voices, and I feel like she did. She
She's like,
woke
what am I missing out on?
missing something, and I can't see. But no, but to your point, our supply chain logistics technology and warehouse certification um, was put together and built basically by from the other end of not from the student and what the student will learn, but the advances in the industry of us being in the industry and seeing what's coming. In order to upskill into some of those managerial roles, in order to upskill and be on the cutting edge of the way industry is heading, pardon me, um, you have to be able to get certified. You have to be able to know these things and have a knowledge base and reference point. And a lot of times we're only training staff for the task that we want them to do today. You're bringing in employees and you're training them for what you need them to do today, and we just feel like that was inefficient. So when we built the supply chain logistics technology course, it's built for that second tier of employment. It's not built for that entry level that walk in. I'm just gonna do the same. I'm gonna build this widget every day. It's built for being able to, and I'm about to grab her and
Yes. I would say I can tell them a little bit of what I
yes,
know
please
about the
do.
program as well. So with the supply chain and logistics program, it's a 9-week certification, and it allows you to fast track your career in the supply chain, logistics, and technology by giving you 5 industry certifications, 5 of them. And within this, what we're really preparing people for is to not just go have another job, right? Like you can go apply and just go in and get an entry level job. But then you're probably going to be job hunting. You're going to find that you're not satisfied with it because you're not getting the respect and the level of career advancement as quick as you'd like. So, and able to bridge the gap of what is needed within the industry itself, we're also trying to help with giving you a career, giving you a position within management. And so we're filling in that gap as well.
Absolutely, and she wanted baby formula, so back to bring it
Right? Perfect.
to bring it full circle. But yes, to your point, and so for the individual that's taking the program, it gives them the ability to not only not have to go job to job to job to job, it gives them a clear career vision into the supply chain logistics industry. So again, it's not just to get you trained up so you can go get one of these entry level positions. It's
Mhm.
getting you certified, getting you the opportunity to have, because they're stackable credentials. All of the certifications, all 5 certifications are nationally recognized certifications. That gives you more options as the employee, or more options as the career seeker, to be able to use these as necessary, kind of a la carte, with the skill set that you already have. The other
Yes.
the other thing this does too is that, because we have companies that have been sending their employees and new hires to the program, and we always encourage that, because what that gives the company the ability to do is you can identify, we'll say, shining stars, for just to put a term on it. But you can identify these individuals that are inside of your company that you really feel like are going to grow within your organization, and then you can send them to upskill by our short-term certification program only being 9 weeks. If you say in 3 months after you've identified somebody that shows all the characteristics that you want in your employee to better your organization, now you can have this same employee add even more value, because they have the ability to get their logistics certifications and supply chain certifications, and now they have a better grasp on how to run things more efficiently, why things go the way they go, and also gives you a track for management. It helps you build your own pipeline for management, as opposed to having to look outward. Right now, we also know that recruitment for a lot of organizations is very difficult. Just the cost of recruitment right now, they have it at, I think, 3,500 is just the cost for a new hire, and that's before you add in the cost of going to the job, or cost and time of going to job fairs, going on Indeed, looking at resumes over and over again, because at the same time, that's costing you money because you're spending time to do these things. So a lot of organizations are, and again, we suggest it. So not just our program is beneficial to this job seeker or the career seeker, because it gives you more tools in your toolbox, but also for the organizations to be able to send individuals to the program. We've also had those that are working in the nonprofit sector to take the program, and the reason they take the program is, again, just for the knowledge base. Sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. So once you get an opportunity to take a program, again, our short-term certification program is eight to 10 weeks, and you get 5 certifications. Now, as a nonprofit, and you're coming from, different walks of life, different industries, this gives you the ability to make your operation much more effective. It gives you the ability to maximize the small staff that you may have. Like,
Mhm.
again, I'm just speaking in the nonprofit world, not so much the big, huge conglomerate nonprofits, but the
Yeah.
smaller local ones. You may have a staff of 10. There may be 10 people in here, and you need to make it work. And so if you send 4 or 5 to the program, such as ours, now they can retrain everyone else all the way down the line. So
Yes, and that's so important, because I remember we were doing an informational with a group, and some questions that we had was, well, there's all these certifications that are occurring within that, but I want a management position where I'm not on my feet a ton,
mhm,
and I'm able to work within this industry, because a lot of people are thinking warehouse, and they're thinking they're going to be in a warehouse walking around the whole time, and that there is a knowledge base that's happening
mhm,
with this, because in order to manage people, you need to know what they're supposed to be doing.
exactly.
So just as you were saying, like, they can then teach and make sure everyone knows what they're supposed to be doing, like, that is a perfect reason, or an additional reason why, to do all of this.
And even one of the roles, so I'm gonna just kind of just highlight one of the roles that kind of just stuck out to me as we were talking. So in the case of, say, inventory management, right? And again, I mentioned this role earlier. If you don't have a clear understanding of forecasting, for example,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have a clear understanding of purchasing and looking for the diverse vendors, if you don't have a knowledge base of this, you can fall behind with your organization. And especially, like I said, if you have a short staff or a small staff, because no one else is going to be there to let you know how to forecast. No one else is. You're going to
Yes.
constantly start hitting these brick walls. When with a little bit of training and upskilling, you would have been able to foresee them and come up with a plan to avert them. So,
Yes. And we talk about diversification within the supply chain itself, but what about diversifying your employees to make sure that, if one employee leaves or they're sick or anything like that, like that you have your backup plans.
mhm.
This is so important, not only within supply chain in general, but in supply chain of your employees.
Absolutely, and even our and I'm keep referencing our program. So we've identified over 135 career paths for those that take our program. So in those 135 career paths, your organization may have 10 that you need someone to do. So that's your cross training right there. You've already taken care of your cross training because you've taken this program. You have an understanding of shipping and receiving, but you also have an understanding of procurement. And then you also have a forklift certification, so you are able to get down on the floor if necessary and move some stuff around. You have kitting and assembly, like these different types of things that are actual career and jobs for people. um, Within your organization, you might need someone to do three or four of them.
Yeah.
So instead of going out and getting, hey, I need four of these positions filled, so I need to go get four different people to do them. You identify someone that you feel is gonna, again, add value to your organization as far as long term, and then they go through the program, and now they're able to do these four positions that you were in need of, and then another 131 more.
Yes.
So that's another big thing as well, especially like I said, with some of the staffing shortages, with some of the great resignation that's going on. You need your employees, you need your coworkers, not even just employees, because it may not be in the sense of from the top to the bottom. It may just be your peer group, but you need your coworkers to be able to do multiple things as well. You need those in your organization to be uh, well versed in everything that goes on with your supply chain, with your product that you're trying to move.
Yes. And, you know, with this too, we do have our in-person training in Ohio, which is where we're based.
Cleveland, greatest city in the world.
But we can come and set up this program within the colleges and universities within any city in the United States. And then we are also developing, which is coming soon, an online program for all of those that are maybe not necessarily wanting all of the forklift and all of that, but they're wanting the OSHA certifications and they are wanting this strong knowledge base, and even business entrepreneurship within the supply chain as well, and looking at providing more opportunities for especially anyone, but people that are going to add more diversity and add more unique perspectives. We are looking at there's a lack of diversity within the supply chain industry, especially in management, coming in with different nationalities, different races, and even women themselves, right? Like we were just speaking to a women's group not too long ago, going, there's a shortage of women in this world. And
Yes, it is.
I personally think women are great at managing.
They are
So,
absolutely, absolutely. And the shortage of women, I think, comes from the perception of that you mentioned earlier, of walking around a dirty warehouse and manufacturing and those type of things, and it's just not like that anymore.
right.
Again, with our program, out of the 135 career paths, is there are a lot of logistics positions where you'll never see a factory floor. You never see a factory. In essence, you can say we do global supply chain and third party logistics, but you can move a product. You can sit in. I'll use Cleveland, Ohio. You can sit in Cleveland, Ohio, and move a product from Arizona to Texas, and you haven't moved. You haven't left your office. And I feel like, because women, of course, are smarter than men, so I feel like a lot of the logistics field and logistics career paths are especially tailored to women. I just don't think people understand how not easily they can get into it, but how transferable their current skill set already is.
Yes, yes. And I'm enjoying learning about it being at Bridgeport. And it's like, yeah, I want to learn more. Like at first I was like, I don't know what I'm getting into. And I'm sure a lot of women probably feel that way too. And then it's like, oh no, this is actually really, really interesting, very impactful day to daily life information that
Absolutely.
can very much make anyone feel very empowered and very knowledgeable. And
Absolutely.
for anyone that's looking to gain more information about either attending the current certification that we have available at Tri-C, that anyone that's I'll get it out in a minute, interested in setting up upskilling for their employees at your business, maybe bringing us into your local college or just having us come out to your organization wherever you are in the United States. And then, of course, with our new online program, let us know if you're interested in that as well. You can comment below and we will make sure to get back to you. You can also email Alex here. You've now met him, so you're no longer strangers at aharper@bridgeportgroup.solutions. You can go to bridgeportgroup.solutions to see what we're about there as well. And thank you all so much for watching. We
Yes.
hope that you enjoyed this. And if you have any topics that you'd like to hear about next time, we do this monthly and we're always highlighting what is really big in the supply chain industry at the moment. All right. Bye.